Hello and welcome to Positively United. Today, Thursday, the 29th of January 2026. And on this program, I wanted to basically follow up from the one I did yesterday, which was is Carrick the new Pep? And I noticed in one of the comments, someone said, what are your tests for Carrick? What criteria would you judge him by before he was appointed Manchester United permanent head coach? Very fair question. Now, I have mentioned in passing in other videos, I think 3 tests that I would put Carrick through before I thought that he was a suitable permanent head coach for Manchester United. But I thought I would drag them out of those videos and present them into a single video here, which clearly states what I would be looking for from Carrick and his team before I would appoint him as permanent head coach at the end of the season. But let me first of all say what my underlying stance is. Carrick is the man who currently has the job. And I'll be really straight. If he passes the 3 tests that I'm going to describe in the next few minutes, I then think the question then becomes not whether Carrick should get the job as permanent head coach. The question becomes, who would you choose instead that would come without any risks, that would be a guaranteed upgrade on Michael Carrick? I think it's as simple as that. I'll explain why after I've gone through the tests. So, let's have a look at those tests. The first one is he's got to qualify for European competition. And do look at how carefully that's worded. It's not qualify for the Champions League. It's qualify for European competition. Because I believe that was the that was the standard that was being asked of Amorim at the beginning of the season. No one was talking about Amorim automatically qualifying for the Champions League at the beginning of this season. Nobody. In fact, most people, I think, were talking about a top 8 finish for United or something like that after their record low finish in the Premier League last season. I think we would have all have been delighted if Amorim had qualified us for Europe. And that means the Champions League or the Europa League. And depending upon the way that other English teams perform in the Champions League this season, and they're all doing really well at the moment, we'll get either 4 or even 5 Champions League qualifying spots for next season. So it's entirely possible that finishing 5th in the Premier League this season will get you in the Champions League, which would also mean that finishing 6th in the Premier League will get you a Europa League spot. So we're talking about Carrick getting Manchester United into either 5th or 6th spots, whichever one qualifies for Europe. And for me, that's the test passed. Now, I know for some people, including, it would seem, the United hierarchy, the Ineos men in suits, it's now become Champions League qualification. I disagree. I really do. For me, it's good enough for Carrick to pass the first test if he gets us into either the Champions League or the Europa League. The second test is whether that's done playing the United way. Now, it's entirely possible that Carrick could qualify for Europe playing dull, boring, part-the-bus football, dispense with wingers, play a defensive line, play deep all the time, go 1-0 up in matches and then defend as if your life depended on it. The Amorim way. Or Jose Mourinho final season way. That's not good enough. Van Gaal lost his job after winning an FA Cup final because we found his football dull and boring. Disquiet started to develop in the Mourinho era. The season after he brought one of our worst teams ever to second spot in the Premiership because of the style of football. Yes, and results, but the style of football was grating. Did anybody like the Ranić half year with the football he played? From time to time, Ten Hag's football was not exactly exhilarating, and Amorim's was just, apart from perhaps some notable exceptions in European competition, dreadful. Simply winning and simply qualifying, I don't think, is enough. That second test is whether Carrick can play to the standard that Manchester United expect. That is free-flowing, attacking football, always going for it, not relying on Arsenal-style set-piece tactics or Mourinho park the bus football or impenetrable tactics of Van Gaal. We want him to play as Alex Ferguson set out his teams, and for somebody of my age, the way that Ron Atkinson or mostly Tommy Docherty put out his teams. 4-4-2, 4-2-4, or the modern 4-3-3 equivalent. But if the style of play we saw against City and Arsenal has got anything to go by, I think particularly Arsenal, if we have games with the kind of attacking quality we saw in the game against Arsenal, I'll be well delighted. That's the United way. So that's the second test. And the final test, I think, is this. If Carrick wants to be the full-time coach, the permanent coach, he's got to keep his coaching team together, or at least in spirit. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the coaching team, as it is at the moment, as we know, is we've got Steve Holland. We'll come back to him in just a moment. We've got Jonathan Woodgate. We've got Travis Binion. We've got Johnny Evans. And we've got Craig Mawson, who sometimes forgotten about, who's the assistant goalkeeping coach. I'd almost be inclined to say that a condition of Carrick becoming permanent head coach, is that all those remain in place. But that's perhaps asking a lot. All those men, well, Steve Holland, Jonathan Woodgate, they're all on short-term contracts at the moment, as short as the managers is. And they might fancy a short-term contract and then going somewhere. I mean, who knows what this stint might do to Steve Holland's reputation. Maybe he'll be offered another job as a head coach somewhere. But what Carrick needs to try and do is to keep that team together, because I think we all have a suspicion that it's probably a team that is, at the moment, stronger than the sum of its parts. Now, Carrick is sometimes criticised, as I addressed yesterday, of being inexperienced. As I pointed out yesterday, he's actually more experienced than Pep Guardiola was when he was appointed Barcelona manager. So that's overplayed. But if we have to contend with the accusation of a lack of experience, then it just makes the strength of the coaching team around Carrick all the more important. So I'd be really keen on Steve Holland remaining around. I think he's been an absolute... I think his appointment's just been fantastic. Everything I hear about him, everything I hear about his past, everything I hear about what he means to the players suggests that is a top appointment. So if Carrick can keep that coaching squad together, or if somebody leaves, it's a like-for-like quality replacement, then that's the third test. So just to summarise, I think Carrick's got to qualify for Europe. He's got to do it playing the United way. And if he were to be made a permanent head coach, he's got to keep that coaching team together. If all those tests are passed, and they will be passed or failed by early May, then in my opinion, the decision no longer becomes, should Carrick be considered? The decision becomes, why would you take the risk of appointing anybody but Carrick? Because by that time, Carrick will be the best qualified candidate for that job in the world. Seriously. If he's qualified for Europe, if he's played the United way, and he has a brilliant team behind him, by mid-May, there's no one else in the world better qualified to be the permanent head coach of Manchester United. No one. Because let's just imagine we selected Thomas Tuchel. Might even be, and I hope it is, on the back of winning the World Cup with England. That is absolutely no guarantee he will do the same job at United. No guarantee whatsoever. Remember, this is a man who coached Bayern Munich to not winning the Bundesliga. My opinion is too much of a risk if Carrick satisfies these three tests. So there you go. That's the answer to your question. What would I say are the tests that Carrick needs to pass in order to be given the job full time? Or, to think of it another way, that the choice of not giving him the job becomes the most risky choice, whoever that other person is, whether it's Tuchel, whether it's Ancelotti, whether it's Poch, anybody. Let me know if you agree in the comments. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you like what I do on this channel, please subscribe. If you know of anyone else who might like this channel, let them know about it. Encourage them to subscribe too. Follow me on X. A lot more followers on this channel than I have on X. Please, if you follow me on this, please follow me on X too, because I post every day. And it drives up links to the channel, which is good. If you'd like to contribute in any way to this channel to improve its technical capabilities, which at the moment I appreciate are a bit primitive, I've set up a Ko-fi account. The link is in the description below this. Please give anything you can, however small. It's all gratefully received. But that's it for today. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, remain positively united.